What's up, everybody? How are we doing today? So I'm trying a different thing for the stream here. So let me know if the levels are fine. Let me know how it sounds. Is it sound okay? Does it look okay? What's up, Matthew? All I hope out of Season 4 is that all these new characters don't turn out to be related to past characters. I hate when fiction does that. It only shrieks the world and rarely feels organic. I agree. I really hope that Miguel and Tory end up being related to nobody we know before. Because I hear a lot of people speculating as such. Hello, Holly. Reagan McKenzie. I like this season more than Season 2. Me too, man. Me too. Fun with characters being related to old characters. I'm okay with some of them. Like Sam, that's fine. Because that makes sense. Robby makes sense. I just don't think everybody that needs to be part of this plot has to have a dad or a mom that's related to all of it. It is a karate drama series, so I wouldn't put it past them, but I think they're a little bit smarter than that. How's everybody doing tonight? How's the sound? How's the quality? I got a little low music going in here. Last time I had, didn't realize that there were in fact ads playing last time I did it, so need to pay attention to that. How do I feel about Gianni and Carmen? I really dig it. I'm a little worried about how it's going to pan out for his relationship with Miguel and whatnot, but I think that Miguel would understand, and it's going to be awesome because I think they deserve that, man. I think Miguel and Gianni and their dynamic. I think Miguel would be able to look past that and have a good time with it. I don't know. It could also make things kind of weird. We don't know, but I really want to see them, because he is his surrogate son at this point, so why not make it legitimate, you know? What do I think of Sam and Miguel? Honestly, out of everybody, they're the couple that I like the most, but Xolo said in an interview himself that like they're high school sweethearts. It's probably not going to work out. High school relationships are dumb, and all of their problems up to this point has been issues with communication. So it might not last, but out of all the couples we have in the show, that's the one that I think makes the most sense. And I'd like to see them. I'd honestly like to see them maintain that, especially with the conversation we finally got to have between Miguel and Daniel this time around. Because he finally got to hear that other side of the story and not just Johnny's. But I don't know. Like I said, I think they're the couple that I like the most, that I'm hoping that they don't overstay their welcome with it. But I don't know. We'll see. Let me get this chat out here. I feel like Holly, you feel like they have more chemistry than the other couples. I agree. I think they do, and I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so like drawn to them as a couple, as opposed to Demetri and Yasmin, or Hawk and Moon, even though that fell through on its own. Like they just feel the most natural together, even more so than Robby and Samantha. Like I felt like Miguel and Sam had much more of a connection than the others. Let's see. Do I think season 4 will come out before 2022? I do not. And the writers themselves said that it probably won't be out until this same time next year. So I would expect about January-ish next year is when we'll probably get season 4, according to the writers in recent interviews. So, looking forward to Terry Silver in the next season. Hell yes, I am, because he's going to up the game to a level we have not seen yet. Because I think Terry makes Kreese look like a kitten, even though they both have the same mindset, the same like Cobra Kai mentality. Unlike Kreese, Terry, over the years, maybe even so back then, because we haven't really got seen a whole lot of him in the flashbacks. But if you recognize him or remember him from part 3, he's insane. Like he takes things way more seriously than Kreese does. He's way more sadistic than Kreese is. He actually gets enjoyment out of psychological torture and pain. Like, I think he's a sadist that can, and plus he doesn't play fair. Well, while, Kreese goes for the technical win, Terry will go any way it takes, and especially with his Quicksilver method. I hope he comes in and he starts teaching Kreese's students how to play dirty, I mean, they've already kind of been doing that, because Kreese really trains them for the real world and not really the tournament world. So you kind of already have a little mix of that, but Terry takes things to an extreme that is, it's a little excessive. And I think it comes down to the personality type that he had in the past, how many times Kreese has saved him. So as a person who at one point wasn't able to really take care of themselves, you become one of those people that will do whatever it takes to win a fight. Even if it's playing dirty, if it's taking out your opponent's ability to fight back. Because all of his Quicksilver rules that he developed are about making it so that your opponent can no longer fight back against you. Which is honestly makes a very good parallel with the thing that Chosen just taught Daniel with those pressure points by taking away one's ability to wage war. It's the same thing in a way. It's just a completely different philosophy and way to get there. While Terry's is through straight force, Daniel's is about peace and not bringing harm to your enemy, because it's just pressure points. It's like, all right, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to take you out, and I'm not going to break your arm. I'm just going to hit these pressure points, and now you can't fight back. Terry's all about, well, I'm going to break your rib, and now you can't breathe, and if you can't breathe, you can't fight me. So fun, and I think it's going to bring a dynamic, because Tory right now is already really scary and going down a much darker path than even Robby. And maybe Tory going deeper down this path will wake Robby up a little bit, or maybe it won't, or maybe it'll pull Robby farther down that path. But if you teach these techniques that she's already absorbing very well from Kreese and rolls with those, she's going to be fucking scary. It's nuts, man. I'm really excited to see where they go with that, man. Let's see. Little to no chance for Sam Tory. They've effectively erased the cheating by Miguel/Sam. Refer to Miguel Tory cafe scene. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that anyway, because if you look back to the very beginning when Tory started to lay her teeth into Miguel, remember back to, their like celebration they had at that diner where he was sitting at his little laptop. She's like, why aren't you hanging out with everybody? We got to celebrate. We got to do something. And he's like, I'm working on something. She pokes him, and he's working on that apology video for Sam. And she doesn't like the fact that he still likes Sam. She's there. She's like, she's kind of into Miguel already at that point. And she like, no. You gotta stop that. She's gonna think that's desperate. You don't need that. You need to trick her into coming back to you. She knew what she was doing. She knew that he was never over her. So she was setting herself up for this down the road anyway. Even though Miguel did develop some feelings for her, those feelings never overshadowed his feelings for Sam. And she should know that. She was fighting an uphill battle with that and playing her own kind of manipulative little game with Miguel's feelings. So I'm not surprised it went the way that it did, because she kind of forced her way into Miguel's heart in a way. So it always felt kind of off to me. So the whole cheating thing, it's so blurred. Do you think... Let's see. Do we think Hawk will fully be on Gianni and Daniel's side, or will he be influenced by Kreese, or will there be conflict? I think because we've been seeing these glimmers of Eli all the way back into season 2, that... Because we saw it at the party before the cops came and broke everything up, when him and Demetri were really getting into it. We saw glimpses of Eli still being in there. I think, and then we saw it all throughout this season. He had moments of remorse, moments of weakness, moments of... And he was constantly questioning Kreese's decisions throughout the season. I think he legitimately turned over, but I think, at least I think, and I want to see that there's going to be like a struggle between how he's fought so hard to separate Eli from Hawk. They're effectively two different psyches, two different people living within the same body. And I'd like to see them kind of take some time for him to come back and be with Gianni and Daniel, but still kind of have some friction between the way that they teach and the way that Kreese was teaching him. I don't want to see him flip. I don't want to see him flip back to Kreese. I want to see him kind of like feel the consequences of his actions and kind of struggle to get Eli back. Because Eli to him is his weakness. Eli to him is the person that Kyler took advantage of and abused and bullied. So eventually, I think he's got to wrestle with somehow, how do we make these two people the same? And I want to see them take a little more nuanced with that whole story arc with him, some more nuance with it. Let's see. I wonder if Danny is going to call Chosen so he can help him and Gianni. I honestly don't think we'll see Chosen again. I also don't think we'll see Allie again. I think this was I think they came in. I think they served their purpose for now. Unless there's more that Chosen can teach him, I think we blew our Karate Kid 2 load in this season. Who do I think Kreese's star pupil will be in season 4? I think it's going to be Tory. I think Tory is going to be this, even though I think Robby's still kind of conflicted. I have to hope that there's still some good in there, but Tory has gone full bore into this mentality. I think anybody that, out of everybody that is on Kreese's side right now, I think she is the most dangerous. What are chances of Mike Barnes versus Gianni in a season? I would say probably 50-50. I think we will definitely see Mike Barnes, but I want to see Mike Barnes come in and not really be on Kreese's side or Silver's side, because his deal with Silver fell through because he lost the tournament in Karate Kid Part 3. So him not getting that payday, him not getting what was promised or anything like that, him losing that fight, I'd like to see that cause some friction there, and maybe even him kind of pull a Chosen in a way, so that like maybe he kind of redeems himself in the end. The actor that plays him in a recent interview with Cobra Kai Theory, who is probably better known as Star Wars Theory, he did an interview with him, talked about, I'd really like to see him down the line like being like an anger management therapist or something like that, because that was a huge issue for him. And I think that would be great, because then you have, it plays into this whole theme of the last season of, actually, this whole show so far, is there's no bad students, only bad teachers. So, like, Barnes at that point was still the student, you had Silver, and then he could be the Chosen, the villain that kind of has this redemption arc, while Terry is still in here, as with Kreese, still trapped in these old ways. So, I don't know. I think the easy thing is to want Mike to come back and still be crazy and just as insane as he always has been. but I'd like to see him get a little bit of a redemption here. You guys are coming in hot through all of this. Oh my god. It's hard to keep up. Chances I'm trying to catch up on some of these questions here. Don't need to have upper hand since they don't have. Yeah. Daniel's got that new move that Chosen taught him that he might be able to teach the kids. Might help out. I think Miguel playing around with the drum is going to be a good little foreshadowing too. Maybe he'll implement Daniel's drum technique into a fight that he used to beat Chosen. Let's see. All right. Terry Silver is 100% coming back. 100%. That's who we called at the end of the season. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody's stuff here, because this is... People are continuing the conversation. I'm trying to keep up. I think Robby and Tory will have a relationship. I hope not. I don't think that they are in a good place mentally, either of them, to be good for either person in that dynamic. If anything, if they did get together, I think they'll only pull each other deeper down the rabbit hole before they're just lost. Do I think they'll bring back Hilary Swank's character? I hope so. I think, as much as people like to crap on that movie, while it isn't the greatest, let's be honest, the first Karate Kid's the only one that I would say is a really good film. I love Karate Kid 2. I love Part 3, but they are very flawed as films. And I feel like that movie's also just as flawed as those. It just doesn't have Daniel in it. Or any connection to Cobra Kai. So I think that there's a lot of elements that don't jive with some people in that story, but I think that Julie and her dynamic that she had with Miyagi is another missing piece, that knowing a different perspective for about Miyagi from her would help Daniel as well. So I think there's some elements of Julie Pierce's character that could help Daniel continue to grow. So I think it would be cool to bring her back in, though they'd need to find out a reason to bring her to the West Coast. Because last time we saw her, she grew up and she lived in Boston, so I don't know what kind of reason. Then again, Elizabeth Shue, Allie, ended up in Colorado, so who's to say she didn't just magically end up in LA? Miguel didn't really want to mess his relationship with Tory. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just kids. It's just teenage drama, man. That's all it is. It's realistic, man. It's hard. You flip flop. Your feelings are all over the place. Your hormones are all over the place. So, while cheating is cheating, there's still kid relationships. So it happens. However, there's no excuse on the planet for Tory to want to kill somebody. Because she said that over a kiss. They were older, married, had kids or whatever, and then he cheated on her, and then maybe there's a little more justification, but she jumps straight to, I'm going to gut you with my spikes. I don't care what they've done to try to make her sympathetic. She goes too far. Farther than any reasonable person wants to go over something like that. And then still expects sympathy and still tries to play the victim when she had basically went out and tried to and enacted some attempted murder on a girl. Infiltrated a school that she doesn't even go to. Sorry. I have no sympathy for Tory. They did the whole mom sick thing, but the mom's not a character. She's just in the background, and it doesn't play into her sympathies at all. It just pushes her further down into Kreese's claws and clutches. so they can sink in even more. The kill somebody was during a fight. She started it. She broke into that school and started that fight to take her out. That is insane. Like, beat her up after school. She went out, knocked out a teacher, stole the microphone from the head office, and was like, I'm coming for you, bitch. She started and instigated everything. And took it to a whole other level. Didn't try to talk about it. Didn't try to be like, what the fuck? At the end, it's another one of those things that always bothers me about cheating dynamics is they always blame the person from the outside of the relationship. She should have been after Miguel. If she was going to be mad at anybody, Miguel's the one that messed up. So, Tory's crazy. They need to do a lot more for me to believe everything that she's going through. What do you think the writers saying they want to do 6 seasons? You think they could extend the story? I don't know how they will. I think the only thing they can extend it, and I think honestly, by my imagination, I only think they could extend it 1 season after 4, just by having Cobra Kai still win the All Valley. I don't know. I don't know how they get 6 seasons out of it, because I feel like once you brought in Kreese, we basically got Kreese on his back heel. You bring in Silver. Where do you go from there? How do you make that into 3 more full seasons? I don't know. I don't know how they have that planned, and I don't want them to overstay their welcome either. So yeah, like chances of a major death. Chances of a major death. I doubt it. I don't think we'll see any major deaths in the show. I don't see the show taking that extreme of a route. I think we're going to ride that line a little bit with all these characters and the extremes these things are going out through, but I don't honestly expect for any of our main cast to actually die. A lot of people don't mention that Robby was trying to protect Sam from Tory before Miguel tackled him. Yeah, but from it's the writing, the setup, the pacing, the soap opera of it all. Miguel didn't see that when he showed up and mistranslated it as him attacking Tory. Nobody's head was in a right spot at that point. No one's head was in a right spot. But would Demetri win a fight in the tournament? When we might find out in the tournament. I don't know. I don't know that honestly Demetri can defeat any main person so far. Sonic here with the Tory and Robby question. I talked about that before. I think it's easy to set them together, but I don't want to see them together because I don't think they're in a good place right now, mentally, emotionally, or even in their own lives, to be good for each other yet. Just because they're on the bad side, they have struggles growing up and they can see some relationships into that, but I don't think they would be good for each other. I could see them getting together, but I don't want it because I want them to grow. I do, no matter how crazy I think Tory is, I want her to do better and get better, and I want these characters to be redeemed in the end. So yeah, someone else will be going to try that out in real life and see how that works for you. Yeah, I mean, there is no way that Tory is in the right whatsoever. just because that happened gives Tory no right, just like Sam said, to be the bully. And not only did she become a bully, she broke onto school property of a school that she doesn't attend and attacked a teacher, attacked a staff member before even getting to Sam. There's no world that anything that she did is okay or excused. Not in my mind. The real villain of the series, miscommunication. Holly nailing it right on the head. Yep. That's why it's a karate soap opera, man. You got people showing up at the right time, well, wrong time, just for these conflicts to occur. And while if this was any other show, it would annoy me, it would bother me. It's like, it's whatever. I don't care, because it's still, I find it entertaining. Find it so entertaining. I would get mad at the person I'm dating. I'm dating, not the person yeah. All right. This Tory back and forth, I'm not arguing on it anymore unless I see something I just need to pick up, because I said my piece on that. I've seen the season. I've seen the whole show at least 3 times the entire way through now. And there's no justification. No reasonable justification, no matter what her home life is, no matter what was done, no excuse to do anything that she did. Do you think there'll be a serious action happen at the tournament to ban the All Valley for good? Maybe. Maybe that's how you extend it. I don't know. Maybe? I don't know, man. With how they're going, with how these characters are escalating, I think that it's a possibility, and especially if we get Terry involved and he teaches these guys some dirty tricks. It's very likely that while they come together to this tournament, there's going to be some foul play at hand, and it might raise further in question in the community about whether or not even having the tournament or these schools around is okay. One thing that I mentioned on Busy's stream yesterday was that I think that another threat that Terry can bring to the game is his wealth and his good public name to come in and, for all we know, he has the money that he can buy the lot that Daniel's dealership is on. He can buy the mall that the Cobra Kai dojo's on. He can just snatch up these places and not just threaten these kids physically, or Daniel and Gianni physically. He can attack their livelihoods if he wanted to. Isn't it weird how Demetri is open to Hawk after breaking his arm? I don't know if I would call it weird. I think in that moment especially, and that's why I hope season 4 goes into a little bit more, that just because I think in the high of that moment, seeing him come back, of course he's going to be like, oh, my buddy's finally back, because he's been trying to get through to him, at least throughout season 2. There's going to be like this moment where he's like, I finally got my best friend back, and they're fighting back to back and all that kind of stuff. I think in the adrenaline of it all, he was just happy that his friend was there. And I think, and what I want to see in season 4 is that to see Hawk kind of struggle with how much he's tried to separate his identities. And I want for him to struggle to adapt to this new dojo and this new style. But I do think that he was genuine in his fall and his turn. Who do I think will win the All Valley? I think it'll be Cobra Kai. I think Cobra Kai will win again but this time it'll be Kreese's Cobra Kai and not Gianni's. Do I think we'll see Allie again? I don't. I don't think we'll see Allie again at all. I think she came in to serve her purpose, which was to heal this wound of Johnny and Daniel's that they've had for all these years. And like she said, they've got a future ahead of them that they need to go find. And I honestly, as much as I would like to see her again, I just don't see a story reason for her to come back. And the writers have said that they'll only bring people back if there's a story reason to do so. But that's how I feel like. Do you think something will happen that will cause Johnny and Daniel to split? I hope not. I imagine there's going to be a lot of friction between the two of them, getting used to each other's teaching styles. But I think it would be a little too repetitive if we do that song and dance again, you know? So while I could see it happen, I hope it doesn't. I want to see them stay. I want to see them, no matter how difficult it is at this point, work together and work through it. And I think we got that. I think we got that unity and that respect finally between these two in this last season. I'm wondering what Miguel's father is like and if we will see him next season. You never know, man. I mean, a lot of people, again, this comes back to what we kind of talked about in the beginning with shrinking the world. A lot of people want Mike Barnes or Terry Silver to be Miguel's father, because all we know about him is for whatever reason, he's in Ecuador. Doesn't mean he's got to be from Ecuador, but he's there, and he's a bad person. The writers have kind of teased about it a little bit and said, well, what's Terry been up to in these last couple of years? And one of them had said on Twitter or whatever that he's been spending a lot of time in South America. But they like to poke fun too, because they also said that Silver. They also hinted that Silver probably owns LaRusso Auto. They also said 3 people were going to die this season. And while 3 people did die, they were all in flashbacks. So it's hard to take anything they say too seriously. Let's see. Oh. Later, Nomus, the fat triangle. Brooks in the hospital room, like, yeah, dude. Brooks got jacked up, man. Let's see. Kyler versus Miguel in the tournament. Okay, one thing that I kind of got a little weird about, like it felt weird, was how confident Kyler was when he came back. When in season 1, which was the last time we saw him, he was too afraid to even be at the same party as Miguel. Like he was like, oh, Miguel's here? Oh. Because after he got his ass whooped in the lunchroom, he backed right off. So it's almost like the writers kind of forgot about that, or maybe over the summer vacation, Kyler got way more confident in his ability to handle little old Rhea. How do I think Miguel's going to react to Johnny and Carmen's relationship? I hope positively, because I don't want any more friction between them. I want to see these teams unite against this evil. Do you think Kyler will become the new crazy Cobra Kai like Hawk? I don't see Robby going there. I don't see Robby going there either. I think Tory is going to go down that road. Because I think out of everybody, she's I think if anything, the thing that might be the wake up call to Robby is seeing her go farther down that path than him. But I don't know. I think out of everybody, Kyler could go that way, but in the same vein, we just keep seeing Kyler get his ass whooped. Whether it's except for when he fought, what was it, Mitch? I don't know. I just can't see him being like the Hawk after everything that he's gone through. He's always kind of been like kind of punked out in most of these. Do I think Aisha will come back next season? The writer said they might that we might see her come back, so it's definitely possible. I'm not sure the reasons why she wasn't in this season. I've heard a lot of things. I heard it was because there were some health issues with her. I heard that she was just written out of the season for some reason. I've heard there was drama. I don't know what the truth is, but they did say that they were thinking about some way to bring her back into the mix. So I'm not sure what the truth is there, but I'd like to see her come back. Hmm. I think it's one to bring down Cobra Kai. Do you think it's possible that Robby will be the one to bring down Cobra Kai along with himself as part of a tragic story arc? You mean like sacrifice himself to take down Cobra Kai? I don't see that necessarily happening, but I think I just want redemption for the kid. But I feel like Terry's going to come in here and he's going to corrupt him to a point. But we don't know. I don't know. I hope Netflix won't cancel them because they are infamous for canceling great shows. I hope so too. They got to see these numbers coming in, man, because the show's been #1 for a while. So as long as it stays up there, it's going to be crazy. Who will win the tournament? I think Robby or Tory is going to be the one to actually win the tournament. Do you think Tory is somehow connected to Terry Silver? I hope not. Again, I like for some of the people to be tied into characters we know, but I don't think everybody needs to be connected to somebody. They haven't showed her mom, and I've heard some people be like, well, what if her mom is Julie Pierce? I was like, well, would that make sense? Would it be cool? I don't know. I don't want her to be. What's up, Busy? Welcome, buddy. But I do think either Robby or Tory will be the ones to win the actual tournament next season. That's a good question here. What do you think would fix Robby's character? Because everyone I've talked to about the show doesn't like his character. Honestly, I don't know how you would fix it. My problem with it is that while he is a kid, while he is a teenager, he's stuck, and that's one of the reasons it's hard for me to like relate with his arc right now. Is any sensible person in the right state of mind would have known that Daniel was doing the right thing. Even though Daniel probably should have talked to him before calling the cops to like give him like some heads up. Maybe he's afraid that even if he did, Robby might run, which isn't still not a good look. But Robby, since he's been away, feels very disconnected from the consequences of his actions. And he doesn't understand that what he did to Miguel has consequences and does fall back on how people see him. But everything, whether it's to help him or whether it's got nothing to do with him, everything since then seems like he's taking it as a personal attack on his person. So I don't know. I need him to like have a wake up call is all I need. That these people care about him. Kreese doesn't give a shit. And I think once he sees that, he's been betrayed by so many people his entire life, and I get it. I get it. I do. But like I just want him to realize. I want him to realize. I think that's the only thing that can take him back bring him back is to have some kind of moment of realization that opens his eyes to what Gianni and Daniel have been trying to do for him. I don't know. I'm not a writer. But I don't know how necessarily you would fix it. I don't think there's anything wrong with his story arc to begin with. There's just that little disconnect that I have with the reasoning for the path he's been going down. I think Sean will join Cobra Kai. I don't know who Sean is. Let's see. How do you think Kreese will recruit more Cobra Kai students? Well, I mean, they could do what Terry did in part 3 and buy more students, because he recruited Mike Barnes from another school that was another town away, because he had heard of this kid in the tournament circuit, the bad boy of karate. And he was like, I'm going to call this kid. I'm going to bring him in because he's a demon in the tournament rings. And we're going to put him in my dojo against LaRusso. So while Kreese is going around recruiting actual athletes that he can take their athletic prowess, their physical prowess, and mold that into a better fighter, Terry can do what he's done and just like, who's the best around town, around the region or whatever? Who can I even fly in to join our team? Because he's just got the money to flow around, or to throw around like it's nothing. So I don't know. I think he could try to do what he did with Barnes and use his money to like bring in people that are already well known for being brutal and strong with what they do, but we'll see. I love how Tory became Sam's Mike Barnes. Yep. And I think that fits in quite well. I think Mike Barnes was another character, while we don't know his backstory at all, like what made Mike Barnes the way he is or anything like that. There's a lot of parallels with the way that they react. And I liked it. I like it played into one another. Why don't you think Miguel will win? I think he's the best out of everybody. While I think he's the best, he's still not back to full recovery. And the show's got to last 3 seasons, 3 more seasons. So if there's two more seasons after this tournament, I don't see how they would win, because according to their deal, if Cobra Kai loses, Kreese will leave. Now, there's a chance that he says that they do lose, and then he still refuses to leave. Maybe he starts to leave, and because he called in Silver, Silver's unwilling to go that way, and Silver is actually the one that takes it too far, which plays into the only way that I think they could redeem Kreese is by showing him his first student go completely wrong. Again, playing into there's only bad teachers, no bad students. Kreese's first student was Terry Silver. I don't know. If he sees the extremes, maybe Terry is willing to go to. Maybe, not likely, maybe there's a chance that he can get a little bit of a wake-up call, because, I don't know. We know that he didn't start off this way. Yeah, Johnny and Daniel's teaching style will 100% clash. That'll be one of the main storylines of next season, probably. I think it'll definitely be a struggle. I don't want, again, like I've said this earlier, I don't want them to split up. I don't want them to not be friends. I don't want them to break up their dojos. We've had that for 3 seasons, 2 seasons now in the movies, of this push and pull, this will they, won't they between them. I want them to stop that, because it's just going to be a little repetitive if they try this merging of dojos and have a little friction and then decide to quit. I don't think that's going to happen again, but I do expect them to be a lot of friction and a butting of heads between them, trying to learn how to actually incorporate their separate styles together. Sean is the guy in juvie. Oh, okay. If he gets out Who knows? Robby might have him join Cobra Kai. And with the respect that he earned in the slammer, man, I don't know. It'd be good. I wouldn't be against it. Yes. Robby literally tried to fight Miguel after he just learned how to walk again. Yeah. And it just goes to show the mental state that Robby's in again, that his first instinct, he's on such a defensive right now, that his first instinct is just from seeing together, from like the moment Miguel opens his mouth or whatever, Robby's just like, goes straight for the aggression. Not trying to understand, not trying to see, not trying to reason, which I still understand his mental state, but it plays into, there's these extremes. Like, he take responsibility. He almost killed that kid to begin with, and he's already, right after getting out of lockup, about to fight the kid he crippled for a little while. Some people just, I don't know, they're just not seeing the consequences of their actions or not acknowledging their actions. We'll see how that goes, though. All right, I'm trying not to get lost. I'm trying so hard not to get lost in this. What do you think about that snake pit in the Nam scene? I thought that was awesome, and I'm still not quite sure what would be scarier, a punji pit or a pit full of snakes. Because a punji pit, you're like impaled through, slow death, can't really get out. Same with the snakes, unless some of them are venomous. Most of what we saw were boas and some anacondas and stuff like that. A lot of constrictors in there, but so unless there's some venom in there that's going to make you not feel it. Also an agonizing way to go. Who would win between Hawk and Tory? I don't know. I'd want to say Hawk, but I think Tory might at this point be more willing to go farther than Hawk is now. Hey, Donkey, I've answered that one. I think so. They could. I don't want it. I don't think they're good for each other. Tory and Robby. Yeah, this one. You think that Robby and Tory might have a relationship in the future? Something I answered earlier, but while I could see them getting together easily just because they are in similar situations, but because of that and because they're not in good mental space, or I don't think they were going to be a healthy dynamic for either of them. So I don't see that being a good relationship for them to have. Yes. The gorilla duck. Miguel will be the first student to understand the concepts of both Daniel and Gianni and develop both. I definitely think that. I think we're going to see him perfectly meld these styles together, and he will truly be a student of two dojos by the end of all of this. Assuming things don't escalate, they don't freaking kill him. In tournament, probably Tory, but in a fight to the death, Hawk? Maybe. Maybe. You think the show could get dark enough to kill off one of the kid characters? I don't think so. Nice icon, by the way. Wally West there. I don't know. I don't think so. I said this earlier. I don't think they're going to kill any of the main characters. Because while the show has its darker edges, I just don't think them going that far with anybody. Tory is tangling with the second most trained person in Miyagi-Do, so yeah, not wrong. Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. How do you think Gianni and Daniel will settle things with Kreese if they lose the tournament, since all the kids are 17 now and it'll be their last All Valley? I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I don't know what the resolution is going to be that, because while he was like, if you lose, and they were just like, well, we won't lose. There was no, is he going to tell them to leave? We don't actually get to say or hear what Kreese wants out of it. Is it to leave? Leave him be? Leave town? Close their dojos? Don't know. I really don't know where this is going to go after this. I have a rough idea how I think season 4 will go, but based on how season 4 ends, whether they win or whether they lose, I don't know where that takes us for the next 2 seasons. I don't know. Anthony LaRusso has lost a ton of weight. Yes, he did. I was like, I wasn't sure who that was for a second, and I was like, oh shit. What the hell? I mean, what was the last? We didn't see him all last season, I don't think. Did we? I can't remember. I feel like we haven't seen him in a long time. And he only had that one scene this season. Do I think Robby and Gianni will be back together? I think so in the end. I think in the end he would be. So I answered this one on Busy's stream yesterday. What if Kreese is Johnny's dad? I think Gianni would know that. Because Kreese would know his mom. But I don't know. I don't know how he would be down the road, down there, all that stuff. His mom, know Kreese, having obviously would have had to have slept with Kreese, to not have that ever come up when she's enrolling her kid in his dojo. And I think it makes more sense for him to be a surrogate father for Gianni than to actually be his blood parent. I think it means more for Gianni's character and explains a little bit more of why his life was harder to make him be his biological father. I don't know what that would necessarily add. Since Kyler was knocked down in Daniel's house, and when Daniel came over, did he call the cops on all the knocked out Cobra Kais, and some of them are in juice for breaking and entering? I doubt it, because if they did, if they caught any of those kids, they would actually have some physical evidence against Kreese. And it seems like they don't have that. What is the drum technique? Sloppy counterhooks. It's some karate magic that I don't understand for the films to have a witty thing of just ha-ta-ta, a slap-slap. Slappy-slappy. It's like a defense and an offense at the same time. It's block hit, block hit, block hit. Don't know. Chosen as Miguel's dad. Now that, I have no idea how that would happen, or why Chosen would be in Ecuador, or why his Miguel's mother Carmen would be in Japan. Who is my least favorite character? Least favorite character. I don't know, man. That's hard. I don't not like anybody. maybe penis breath. It's probably penis breath. Again, I can't remember his name already. Was it Mitch or was he Chris? I can't remember. First of all, thank you for making me feel better about crying through all this season. Kreese might be related to Tory. I hope not. Again, I don't want any more people to be magically related to other people. But yeah, no shame in crying, man. If you get emotionally invested in something, love it to death. Emotions are for sharing, despite what has been said in the recent days. I see Kreese becoming a father figure to Tory, and maybe a redemption arc for him. I think a redemption arc for Kreese at this point would be quite the task from a writing perspective to pull off. But they've done a really good job so far in making so much of this everything be very black and white. We're living very much so in the grays that I'd like to see them try. They definitely started to humanize him. They didn't try to make us sympathize or give excuses for what he's done, but they did a really good job at showing how he got to the worldview that he has now. And it makes sense. Mitch. Okay, cool. Least favorite character was Stingray. Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot for me, but he still at least made me giggle every now and then. And now he's gone. Which I thought was a good excuse. That is beautiful. Mitch and Chris. I prefer Bebop Jr. and Rocksteady Jr. Love it. Well, Aisha returned in season 4. They said they're talking about bringing her back, so it's a possibility. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they might let the Cobra Kai name die. I think they might. He tried to turn it around, but it's so connected to Kreese and his legacy that I agree. He just needs to start a new dojo and teach his own way and just not have it tied to any of that. Did you notice that Terry Silver was the one they called Twig in one of Kreese's flashbacks? All right, I've mentioned this in the comments a couple of times. Justice for Clarence. Oh, that's funny. So the Terry Silver thing, in my reactions when I was going through it the first time, when they were setting you up to think that Ponytail was Terry Silver, like he acted like Terry, he looked like Terry, and it was so obvious that they wanted you to think he was Terry that I was like, is he though? Or is it this guy? And then when he got popped off in episode 6, I was so like reactive in that moment, I missed completely that the captain said quiet Silver to Twig. And because Twig had always been the whiny, weaselly little like spindly guy who was definitely not the most confident out of the trio, I just heard the S because I was like, holy shit, from where the guy just got shot in the head. When I didn't have the subtitles on, so when he said quiet Silver, I heard quiet sissy. I was like, 2 S words, not even close to being the same. And it wasn't until I actually went back and watched it again with the subtitles on that I realized, even though in episode 10, by that point, it's 100% clear that Twig is Silver. I just missed that they actually said it in episode 6 until I went back and watched it again. That's a good point. So did Terry adopt Ponytail's personality because he felt guilty for his death? That would be interesting. maybe as like a way to honor him, you know? I don't know. That's a cool little, I didn't think about that. Maybe he just wanted to emulate him, and so that in some way maybe that guy got to live on. Let's see. Miguel's built different. Man took 50 hits to the stomach and was able to walk it off and knocked Kyler out in one hit. Yeah, man. I was like, they're going to fucking kill this kid. And when Kyler grabbed him by the leg and threw him onto that sofa, and he hit the backboard of the sofa on his back, I was like, this kid just learned how to walk again, and they're going to jam him in his back. They want to paralyze him. Why is Kreese old? Because he's really old. Sorry, I don't have another answer for that one. Let's see. Kind of something I've touched on a little bit before. Who do I think his biological father is? I hope just some dirtbag in Ecuador, and that's it. While it would be interesting to be somebody else, I don't want them shrinking the world more than they need to. And it would definitely feel even more like a soap opera if they did have him be like somebody else. Where do you see Amanda's role in season 4? Do I see her learning karate herself? Doubt it. But I don't know. I just think she's been so supportive despite everything that's been going on. And now that she finally understands the insanity that Daniel's had to deal with and the extremes that these people Daniel has had to deal with are willing to go through, I think she's just going to continue to be like such a supporting person to her family, to these students, and I think she's just going to, I don't know, just ground everybody, because I think that's what she's been doing all these seasons. I just think she'll continue to do that. I don't know if they'll shake up her character and give her actually something involved to do, and I don't know if that would be weird or not if she did get more hands-on with everything. I don't know. I would like her to stay in the role that she's in, because also she's like us. Like, all of the things that come out of her mouth are the things that we're saying. Like, where's the cops? Why haven't we called the cops? Your feud is fucking insane. Come on, your children, make up. Like, she says all the things that we think while we're watching it. And I don't know. I think she's got a good spot in the role with her doing it like that. All right, so I addressed this yesterday too. Could the red letter that Captain kept secret from Kreese be that Betsy was pregnant? So the reason I don't think it's that is because the reason why I think what he tells Kreese at the pit is the truth is because if it was something negative, like she killed herself, she left him for another man, she died, those are things that would emotionally impact Kreese on his mission. So that makes sense. That's what he says when he reveals it towards the end. So, like, he wants him to be on top of his game. He doesn't want him to be shaken, doesn't want him worrying about things back home. He wants him to be focused on what's going on. If it was a pregnancy, I don't know why he would keep that from him before the mission, because that would give Kreese more of a reason to do this right, to do this perfect, to do this to the best of his ability, because he's got something to fight for and something to go home to. So if it was something positive, I feel like that would motivate Kreese to do better on the upcoming mission, to get home, to live, to see his child, to see Betsy. So I don't think it was anything positive. because for me, I just can't. I just don't equate it. It could be. I just don't think that's the case. Um, do you think Daniel will take his students to Okinawa? I don't think so. I don't think that we need to take any more. While I would like it, and I like the setting, I like Chosen, Kumiko, all of that. I don't think we need to overdo it. I think Daniel has everything he needs from Chosen and Okinawa to move forward now with what he needs to teach his students now. What did I think about Demetri's Demetri and his character growth this season? I liked it because I think last season he just was. I don't know. He was starting to get on my nerves more than he was in season 1, and until like towards the end. And I like that we're starting to see him come out of his shell. It's been nice, gradual, and steady, and I'm glad that he's standing up for himself. He's being more physical. He is taking these hits now, and he's even got some action going on. I'm proud of the boy. I'm proud of him. Do I think Hawk and Moon will get back together? I highly doubt it. I think that ship has sailed. Maybe if he stops being a bully, but I don't know. I feel like he might have burned that bridge. And just like with Johnny and Allie, maybe it's time to move on. Even though it's been less than a year. Where do you see Robby's role in season 4? I think he's going to be the new Hawk at Cobra Kai, while Tory becomes the new Miguel at Cobra Kai. How that plays out, don't know. All right, let's see what we got here. Sorry if I'm struggling to keep up with everybody's questions. You think they could bring in Karate Kid 2010 because they were all different characters? I doubt it. I don't see any story reason for them to bring those together. To bring the Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith thing in. Because it just doesn't have any ties to these characters, this world. They could. It would be neat. It'd be interesting. I just don't know what it would add. And I would be really impressed if they brought in Jackie Chan. But I just don't see that happening. It's not a bad movie. It's misnamed for sure. Do you think Anthony LaRusso will ever come back? We saw him. We saw him this season. He lost a shit ton of weight. He got sent back to the car. There you go. A letter to the war zone back then could only be for death. I mean, in that setting, for sure. Like, as deep as they were, it had to be serious news. Like, I thought maybe it might be a Dear John letter. Like, she was like, because she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do while you're over there or whatever. About seeing him go and stuff. And, you know, sometimes it works out. Sometimes, and I know this with some friends of mine that have joined the military, sometimes they just don't want to wait while you're gone. So, it could have been anything like that. I just think it would be... For me, it definitely made the most sense if it was something negative. So it definitely couldn't have been good news. Do I think Daniel is going to teach his students about the pressure point that Chosen taught him? I think so. I don't see there's any reason not to teach these kids that, especially with how Kreese is now going to be preparing his students to just be as ruthless as him. I think that's going to be an important technique for his for him to teach them. What if they were to do a digitally CGI Miyagi? I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I would like it for... I like how they've been representing Miyagi so far in this, but while not ever seeing him other than in flashbacks, he's felt in almost every scene, like his legacy, his spirit. Like Daniel had said to him, it was like, this is an American way you think. You know, in Japan, no one's ever really gone. God, I hate saying that because it just makes me think of Star Wars. No one's ever really gone. Do you think... I like this question. I kind of touched on it earlier, too. Do you think Hawk will go back to being Eli in Season 4? I don't know. I don't know that if there's ever going back to just being Eli. Because Hawk and Eli have become such separate personalities of his, and I want Season 4 to focus on, at least on his part of the story, of how he's going to reincorporate. So I don't know if he's going to stay going by Hawk, if he's going to go back to being Eli, but I want to see some of that struggle going into Season 4 of him kind of battling with the transformation itself and the consequences of this transformation that he's now realized was not probably the best thing that he could do. Let's see. Rest in peace, Kyler's friend. Yeah, dude, Brooks got fucked up. Maybe someone teases them. Maybe someone teases them and Hawk wrecks them, showing he's embraced being a nerd and a badass. I like that. He'd be like the bodyguard of the nerds. Hell yeah. I like that. We'll go with that way. That makes no sense. If Kreese thought his girl was dead, wouldn't he go back home and check? I mean, he's not allowed to leave. So I don't know that I'm understanding what exactly the question is there. To be honest, I'm sorry. Who is better, Miguel or Gianni? In a fight, I think Gianni still. I think Gianni would still be able to beat Miguel. As a human being, Miguel. I think Sam will find the scroll the Chosen gave Daniel, but it's not the pressure point move. It's something much more lethal. That would be a twist. That would be a twist. That would be interesting. What if that scroll isn't the one for the one he just learned? That's something I didn't think about. I just automatically assumed it was going to be the scroll that actually contained the pressure point secret. What if Kreese has a plant in Miyagi-Do since he knows about the alliance between Daniel and Gianni? Who could be the spy? I don't think it's Hawk, because we see too much of Hawk's perspective when no one else is around that I believe his turn. I don't think it's Hawk. It could be anybody else. If it is anybody else, they didn't really spend a lot of time setting up who that other person would really be, unless, I don't know. Hawk is like the easiest out, but like there's a lot of the things that we see from his point of view, especially during the turn itself, doesn't make sense narratively for us as the viewer for me to see that as not being genuine. So I don't know. I don't think so. But you never know. Kreese is dirty and underhanded, and he might just go that way, and we'll see how it goes. Do you think Hawk and Demetri will become friends again? Well, I think they did, but I think they got a long road to mend that bridge fully. And I want that to be a part of season 4. Ah, okay. I see what you mean. When he goes back to the USA, wouldn't he ask her friends and family if she was dead? Yeah, he definitely could to see if it was true. I just don't. The reason why I don't think the guy was lying or anything like that was just because the two scenes together, like just looking at the final flashback in the last episode, he could be lying just to shake him up, just so he can win. But when you combine it with the first time we see him get the letter and he hides it, I don't know why that wouldn't not be true. But I mean, sure, Kreese could go home and he would be able to ask. I just don't know if it would benefit us with the confirmation or not, or if we just need to continue to assume that that was the truth. I don't know. You're not wrong. Like Potter finding Snape's book. Sectum Sempra. How do you feel about Yasmin and Demetri? I like it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute, and it came together. I like that she finally knows what it's like to be on the other end after having her vagina destroyed. Secret. The secret to the Kamehameha wave is in the scroll. The Miyagi Hadoken. See Miguel sweep around and just like pull together a bunch of chi and just poof. Yeah, like I've been saying, I think a lot of season 4 is going to be him struggling to reconnect with this side of himself he's been trying so hard to bury. Because I was starting to see, and there was a lot of Star Wars parallels this last season, especially between these temptations of the Sith Lord Kreese and manipulating people over to the dark side, between Gianni facing off against Robby as he falls, which reminded me of Obi-Wan having to defend himself against Anakin on Mustafar. The music itself, the song while Gianni is fighting Robby, is called Duel of the Snakes. I think, along with that, it just makes sense that there's going to be this like kind of conflict with him struggling with his identity. You know, I don't know. I got lost in that. I don't even remember what happened. What was I talking about? Where was I going with that? Son of a bitch. I don't even know what happened there. I lost where I was going with all of that. Damn it. What was I talking about? I don't even remember what the question was now. Damn it. That's a fair point. But it is also for his collection, so it could be the scroll for the thing that he just learned. Yeah, I that's a fair argument. I don't know. Makes sense. It could be something new for him to learn. Did you know that Terry Silver in Karate Kid 3 used nunchucks in the same way Tory was swinging the nunchucks around when she was fighting Sam in the dojo in Season 3, Episode 10? Connection there? That's an interesting call. She could be related to Terry. She was taught martial arts before she came to the dojo. I don't know. Again, I don't like people connecting too much back to to other characters again, but that would be a nice little seed that they planted there that I didn't even think about. Um, Will Kreese teach his students how to use weapons on the walls to make his season even darker? Maybe. But it wouldn't really work out in this tournament. They've agreed, at least at this point, that they are going to keep it to the tournament. Ooh. Do you think the whole season will be like the tournament itself? How would they do that? Dragon Ball Z does it all the time. What am I saying? Or do you think we'll get this? Do you think the tournament will be at the end of the season, middle of the season, beginning of the season? I'm curious though. Like, how's that going to play out? Because he said, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep my guys off of your guys. We'll settle this at the tournament. Could be lying, but do you think he's going to? I don't know. I mean, the kids will do what the kids do, even without Kreese giving them orders. So there's your way around that too. I don't know. I don't know. Like, at any point in a dojo, you are going to learn how to use weapons. Like, they are going to train you, depending on the practice. They usually will dive into weapon combat and stuff like that anyway, but I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. Do you think Hawk will change his hair color? I don't know. That's another thing. I think that ties back to what's going to happen with his character arc. Whether or not, does he keep the mohawk at all? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Which is the worst Karate Kid movie in your opinion? Honestly, I don't know, man. It's tough. That's a tough question. I think 3. Honestly, I enjoy 3 more than 2. I enjoy 3 more than the next Karate Kid, but I think it's, in my opinion, the worst of them. But the one that I enjoy the most other than the original. So, I'll cheat. I'll take that answer. Michael Franco. Did you hear the music playing in the background during the ending credits on episode 10? I did. Yeah. Yeah, I've got it. I've got the soundtrack too, which is cool. I've been listening to nothing but Cobra Kai music and songs from Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid here the past few days. You think Gianni could potentially have a health issue? We saw him in the hospital, and a friend of mine thought it might be his kidneys. Well, I mean, they did say he had blood at his piss, so, which isn't uncommon when you take a couple of shots to your kidney. So, I mean, it could become something more prominent than what it is. But I think that's all it was. I think that was just an injury from that scuffle he had at the parking garage in the first episode. Cool hearing In the Air Tonight. Just wish it had been the Phil Collins version. I actually like the version that they played, but yeah, the Phil Collins one is still really good too. Tory was also wearing this skeleton image hoodie too. That is something that I was just too swept up in the moment watching the episode to even realize. Like, I didn't even like notice or call out to it that she was wearing a skeleton hoodie until much later. That's a good point. She did say it was kickboxing. She could be lying, but yeah, you're right. She did say it was kickboxing at one point, if I remember right. I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, I just don't know about connecting everybody back. I can't remember. Let me find it too. Do I think he'll change his hair color? Just kind of coming back to that. I want to find who actually said it because I just like the reasoning for it. Here we go. It was Andrew here. I have a feeling Hawk's hair is going to be green to represent Luke's lightsaber. It's like, while it makes no sense in the world of Cobra Kai, I would not be against him going green just for that. Let's see. Next Karate Kid worst film. I can see that. I like the arc with Julie in that. And I think that story makes some more sense. Everything after the first movie, honestly, isn't the greatest movie. So it was a toss-up between 3 and the next Karate Kid for me. But I enjoy Karate Kid Part 3 more than any of the other ones. What other classic 80s song would you like to hear? More Guns N' Roses. More Guns N' Roses. Maybe even some Ozzy, even though I know he was active for a long time, so even before that. But do you think they'll have to sign a contract or something so that the dojos won't mess with one another? These guys aren't about paperwork. These guys aren't about contracts. This is just all honor related at this point. I don't think anybody's signing no paperwork to show it, because that would only incriminate all 3 of them if that ever got out. If there was actually something written down that they had this kind of like backdoor conspiracy going on with this essentially gang war that's breaking out between these dojos. That was one of my problems. That honestly is one of my problems with part 3 of The Karate Kid. He literally fought Chosen to the death. If he lost, not only was he going to die, but Kumiko was going to die. Barnes wasn't ever going to kill Daniel, but he was like more afraid of Mike Barnes than Chosen. While it was eccentric to all hell, and I liked it, it made no sense. It was just, yeah. After that, I was like, like, how are you afraid of that? You literally fought a guy in a death match, not at a tournament. Just a little jam in the lemonade. Exactly. How do you think the finale will be? I don't know. Like I said this earlier. Whether who wins the All Valley tournament, whether it be Cobra Kai, whether it be Miyagi-Do or Eagle Fang or Miyagi Eagle Fang or whoever or whatever, whichever side, I don't know where the story goes from there. I'm just not sure. I don't personally, just because I don't know where their heads are at and where they're going to be going. With the information we have, I don't know what route it's going to take after season 4. It almost feels like to me season 4 should be the final season, but or at least one more after that to kind of like come down off of it. But I honestly have no predictions on how this is going to end, other than I think pretty much everybody but Kreese will be redeemed. I don't think any of them are going to be dead. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. Good guys win, Kreese lose. Everybody happy. Robby, Miguel, maybe not friends, but maybe kind of respect each other a little bit. But everybody would be back in the light. Maybe his hair color would be black and white. Semblance, symbolic. That's what I meant. think Miguel and Daniel will bond more in season 4, and I predict Daniel gives Miguel the car as a gift. That would be interesting. I do want to see more of Miguel and Daniel, because Miguel's journey so far has been very much Johnny's, and while Johnny is definitely his father figure, I think there's a lot that Miguel needs to learn about life and karate, especially that he can't get from Johnny, but he can get from Daniel. And I think that's one of the best things about bringing these two giants together, is this merging of their philosophies, this understanding that's coming between them all. I think it's going to be super cool. And I want to see more of that, because it really wasn't until that moment that I really realized that was the first dialogue scene between Daniel and Miguel all series so far. Bad to the bone. That wouldn't be a bad one. I don't think we're going to be seeing Stingray anytime soon. I think he was a 1-season deal, and there's not really a whole lot of coming back from a restraining order from being around any children. Yeah, somebody did mention that Miguel kind of incorporated the drum technique, though not completely, when he blocked Kyler's kick. It might have helped. It might have just been a little nod, but it wasn't fully realized, so that'd be really interesting to see. So you think the new name for the dojo will be Double Dragon? Oops. Keeps going away. I think it's an early Easter egg the writers hid in the ending credits after it played in the air tonight. I saw that. I didn't think about that. I think the only problem with that is there is a series and a game and a movie called Double Dragon. So they might, I don't know if they would be able to trademark that for the show. So I don't know. I like it, but I don't know if the logistics of it or not. Kind of along those same lines, what do you think about the name Duo Dragon or Dragon Duo? I don't think it really flows well as like a dojo name, so I definitely wouldn't be sold on that, unfortunately. I think I agree with this. Even though they say they have 6 seasons planned, I feel like 5 seasons would honestly, with the pace and the rate that it's going right now, I feel like that feels like a sweet spot to end on to me. Because 6 seasons, there's only so much left to like reference or mention, or 6 kind of feels like it might get dragged out, and I don't know. What's my favorite season so far? Favorite season, honestly, it's this season. I think the first season is the best season. Like, from pacing, character development, plot, and just being a tight story. But 3 has just been so rewarding, so fun to watch, so fun to talk about and speculate on. And just between going to Okinawa, the fights, Kreese, Terry, Vietnam, all the stuff going on with the characters, I just really enjoyed this season, especially all the Star Wars parallels. You think Daniel and Johnny will visit Miyagi's grave and Johnny thanks Miyagi for saving his life? I would like that. I think that would be a sweet moment to bring in and share Miyagi with Johnny. Because you're right, Johnny was saved by Miyagi's intervention when Kreese was basically choking him out. Thoughts on Moon joining the dojo? She's a peace-loving hippie. I don't see her getting involved in any of the fisticuffs. Even though I think it would I don't think everybody needs to know karate in the show, and I like her role so far. And I'm curious to see, we kind of touched on it a little bit, like how is she gonna feel about Hawk coming back to the light? You know, they're gonna get back together. They're gonna at least be friends again. But I don't know. I just don't see her character and her personality or being like a person that wants to fight. Unless something comes up, something instigates, something provokes her to break out of that hippie mindset that she's been stuck in, that she lives in. So, I don't know. I don't think her character right now would make sense being in the dojo, but it's not like they couldn't write something to pull her into it. But Iron Eagle Dojo would have been a great one. Run into copyright. It's probably some copyright there. You listen to the final boss screen in Double Dragon, it's what they played on after the credits. Interesting. Do I like Robby or Miguel more? I'm hands down Miguel. Hands down. Like, it's not even like a choice. Like, I like Robby. He's not my favorite character. He's far from my least favorite character. I don't think I've like since season. I haven't really been like hardcore for Robby since the last half of season 1, and I think that's kind of where he peaked out for me. And it's just been downhill from there with his character and his arc. I didn't like him getting together with Sam. I didn't like just how he flipped and almost killed Miguel. Miguel, not everybody's not guilty or not free of guilt, but like, I don't know. His arc, I just haven't been feeling it. Miguel's just very endearing because he's like, he was the sweet kid that got kind of corrupted for a little bit, and then he realized he was wrong and came back from it. There's a lot of fluidity with Miguel and his character. And then you have that relationship with his family, with Gianni, now Sam and Daniel. He's just got a little bit of everything, and I like his character. Now, my favorite character in this is still Daniel. Daniel's my favorite character. Daniel's my favorite in the old stuff. I love Gianni to death. I love that focus on him. I love Gianni. Gianni's my second favorite character, but Daniel's still my my man. He's still flawed, but I don't know. I like him. Here's something I wanted to think about, just because this provoked a thought. If it gets to season 6, I think we'll see a passing of the torch. I think by season 6, I would have to imagine if they aren't in their senior year, they are starting college. And who's to say they don't start their own dojo or something like that? I don't know. Think about that. Roll around with that thought for a little bit. Oh, I see what you're saying. I get it, they will run into copyright issues, but how they get to play the theme to the final boss fight in Double Dragon and the ending credits. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they acquired the license to it or something. I'm not sure. It sounded like Duel of the Fates. Well, it's called Duel of the Snakes. One of the songs at the end is it's called Duel of the Snakes. Let's see. Robby is a damn near bootleg Skywalker story. He has definitely gone the Anakin route in a way. But he started off as kind of the bad kid, and he had his redemption arc really early, just to fall again, and now requires a second redemption arc. I think that's another reason that like I'm struggling with this storyline, because he's already had one redemption arc so far. Did I like the score of the season? I did. I really did. I've been jamming to it the past couple of days since it dropped on iTunes. It's so good. I got the first 2 seasons soundtracks as well as the ones for the films themselves. They're just so good. So good. Probably looks like a bootleg Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World. Oh my god, you nailed it. Yes, he does. That are like if you smash Sean Hunter into Jonathan Taylor Thomas, they would create Robby. What do you think Kreese will say? Kreese? My accent came out for a second. What do you think Kreese will say to Robby about his Miyagi-Do training, for instance? Do you think he will try to tear it down or build it upon it? Ow. I think he said what he needed to say about it. That Miyagi-Do crap will do you good in a tournament, but not in real life. I think he's going to just teach him the Cobra way and use that kind of like brutality, because now Robby has a taste of the real world. Robby's honestly been living in the real world for a long time, and maybe Daniel showed him another way, and that didn't work out for him. And now that's part of the temptation to go to Kreese. So, I don't know. I don't know that he needs to tear it down, but he's definitely got to redirect Robby's mind. And honestly, Kreese doesn't even have to do a lot to do that now, because Robby is in this headspace where he's just turned his back on anything redemptive, anything that Daniel's taught him at this point. He's just like walking away from all of that. So I don't know if there's a lot that Robby or Kreese really has to do to transition. Oh god. Let's see. Just for a little Nick here, we've talked about this. I think we'll 100% see Terry. I would like to see Barnes, but I don't think Barnes is necessary to come back. But I would like to see a redemption arc with Barnes, like we got with Chosen. Because I don't know how Karate Kid 3 ended, that he and Terry would be on good terms. Do you think Robby will finally be friends with the guy in jail? I do. I think that they have that respect, and maybe when that guy gets out of jail, maybe he'll even join Robby at Cobra Kai, especially having faced his karate firsthand in juvie. Maybe he'll want to learn how to throw down like that himself, because he was already pretty formidable with, as far as we know, no formal training. So that would be an interesting combination to have him join Cobra Kai once he's freed. Miguel, I think at the end of the day, assuming he can still walk, he's still alive at the end of all of this, will be a freaking top-notch sensei, having learned from both Gianni and Daniel in the end. It's going to be so good. Do you think Terry Silver's actor Thomas Ian Griffith will return? Will it be recast? I've heard rumors that he's retired, which would be a shame. I think he'll come back. I mean, he came back for this roundtable Zoom thing the other day, and the writers are very apt about being true, to the point where they tried to get the guy that played Dutch, and because they couldn't get the actor who originally played Dutch to come back, they just wrote Dutch to be in prison. So if we're going to see Terry at all, I definitely believe that Thomas Ian Griffith will be the one that comes back. If he doesn't come back, I don't think the writers will have Terry at all. Unless it's just to do a voice call, like Kreese calls him, and all we see of Terry is just him talking to Kreese over the phone, and he never actually comes and shows up, which would be a little disappointing, but I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would write it that way. So if we are going to see Terry, I wholeheartedly believe they'll be able to convince Thomas Ian Griffith to come back. Anyone else interested in Hawk's new change? I am. I want to see it be a focal point of this season, of the next season, of him struggling to, bring Eli back a little bit and merge what he's learned with Hawk with his original personality, so they can be at some level of harmony, because he's so out of harmony right now all season long, and it's been breaking him apart, tearing him apart in all these different directions. He needs balance. Balance, Danielson. Focus. Warren's actor is hella thirsty to return. Yeah, he is. He's super excited. He loves talking about this stuff, too. If any of you haven't seen his interview with Cobra Kai Theory, Star Wars Theories, Cobra Kai channel, he got him on there to do an interview. It's so cool. And honestly, his idea of what he hopes happens with Barnes when we meet back up with him, I hope that's what happens. He wants him to be an anger management counselor, and I think that would be perfect. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Off topic, do you think there will be an Arrowverse crossover this year? Are you excited for Superman and Lois? Will Kara be in the last one? Be in the last crossover? Yes, and yes. They confirmed that there's going to be a 5-part crossover already. That involves John Diggle. So I wholeheartedly expect we are going to finally see him wielding the ring. Because he's going to be in 5 separate shows, and one of them is going to be the crossover. So I think we will see a crossover. I am excited for Superman and Lois, and I do think that Kara will do one last crossover before the show ends. That'd be cool. I think that would also kind of connect him a little bit to Cobra Kai a little bit, just to come out of it in a different light too. I think that'd be an interesting parallel, because it almost vilifies military personnel in a way, even though I know it doesn't represent all of them. They were in this extreme case, but all of the villains, all of the big ones, other than Chosen, other than Mike Barnes, like Kreese and Terry Silver, the ones tied to Cobra Kai, are tied to the military. And I'd like to see them show something a little bit better come out of that. That would be cool. Instead of stepping up from the All Valley in next season, maybe in the next ones we can do an international tournament. A national tournament would be cool, but if you did season 3 an international tournament, then you can bring Jaden Smith in and they can fight. But he'd be too old by this point, actually, to be in under 17. Imagine if Anakin comes and fights Kreese. I mean, if you actually mean Anakin, that's not a fight because he just force choke lightsaber dead. Even hand to hand combat, Anakin would whoop the shit out of Kreese. Let's see. That would be sad. I could see Sam and Miguel married while Tory ends up like season 1 Johnny. No, I want the show to end with everybody, as many people as possible, getting set on the right path. Because I know the writers said at least at one point that they aren't going to leave the show with anybody being worse off than when we seen them. I'm sure there's going to be some exceptions to that, but it would be I don't want anybody else to end up like Johnny, even if it's Tory. Tory deserves redemption. As much as I complain about how far she's willing to go, how extreme, how crazy and psychotic her actions have been, I am not the person that wishes for somebody's failure. I want to see her realize, learn, and find a better life for herself, for her mother, that whole relationship, everything. Like, I don't want to see her in the pits, and I don't want to see anybody, especially any of these kids, be left off like that. I don't think that's the message the show is going to say in the end. Even though that might be more realistic in the end, I don't think the show is going to do that. Do you think Cobra Kai karate and Miyagi-Do karate will have some strong components from offense and defense? I think they do. I think that's the perfect mashup for both them to really kind of like fill in some of these gaps in them. Their styles. Not that Miyagi-Do really has a gap, but it definitely doesn't help with the situation that they're in by being purely defensive, because at this point they're on their heels. They need to take an offensive stance, which is something that Chosen helped Daniel observe, that there's a way to be defensive while on the attack, and then he thus learned the pressure points. I have the high grounds. Another super chat. Thank you, JM. Great channel, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I don't expect anybody to super chat, but it is 100% appreciated. Thank you so much. Yeah, if anybody's going to master this blend of their styles, it's going to be Miguel. Because we saw that he was just a natural with learning Cobra Kai. I think he's going to nail it. Drum technique, maybe even the pressure points. Who knows? But I think Miguel's going to be the peak student to blend all of this. I don't even think Daniel and Johnny are going to incorporate much of each other's styles rather than teach it to the kids. And I think the kids, especially Miguel, is going to be the ones to actually carry this new style forward. It's a good point. What if Terry is a secondary option for Kreese? If he indeed loses to Daniel and Johnny, could be his contingency plan. Yeah, it's like Kreese, his part of his deal was he would leave. Doesn't mean the dojo has to go away. Terry could come in, run the dojo, and carry on for him. Never know. I'd take it. And Thomas Ian Griffith, I don't know if he's kept up with it, but he looked really great back in Karate Kid 3 with performing those moves. I could have sworn that he was a martial artist. From everything I've seen, he's not. But man, he was so good at those kicks, those punches, and just like, especially in those little sparring scenes that we saw him in. If he's still in some relevant shape, I'd love to see him like teaching them. Chosen coming to the U.S. to help Daniel and Gianni would be awesome. It would be awesome. I honestly don't think we're going to see Chosen again, while I would like that to happen. An idea for Johnny and Dojo. People that need offense go to... Meow. Yeah, okay. So people who have focused mostly on offense will go to learn defense from Daniel, and the people that need to learn offense will go to Gianni for that. Yeah. I think... Sorry, it took me a minute to read through that. What did I think of Allie's return and closure for Gianni? I absolutely loved it. I was so afraid when they brought her in to... And Gianni and her had that moment where it looked like they were almost going to kiss. I was like, come on, man. You're supposed to be getting past this stuff and moving forward. And it played its part. One of the things that's been holding Gianni back for so long is every tie he had to the past. And that one was the kick to the face, the loss of the tournament to Daniel, and the other was losing Allie. He's got closure on both. And it's finally time for him to move forward, and I'm glad that she served that purpose. Thank you, Scott Edwards, for another super chat. Do you think villain of Diggle's story crossover will be? I think it's going to be Mongol. I think we're going to see Mongol, because there's been some hints at Warworld being set up, and I think that would be I think that's where we're going to go. I think we're going to see Mongol with Sarah Lance on Warworld, and Diggle he will be getting the team to go get her back, since the last bit of his involvement is on Legends. So that's my call out. I think it's going to be Mongol. We're going to start to wrap up soon, guys. So go ahead, and I'll give it like 3 or 4 more minutes, and then we'll call the stream. Throat's starting to get dry and die out on me. I think the finale of the series could be when Gianni gets married and be cool with Robby, because that's how Gianni could have everything that is opposite of the start of Cobra Kai. Yeah, I would really like that. While that isn't kind of like what IDZ said down here, a little bit of a fairy tale for some characters if things turned out a certain way, which I agree with that statement, by the way. I don't think it's fair for Tory if it works out the other way, or for Sam. But I think that Gianni ending in the exact opposite of where he started the series would be perfect. You're right. And it wasn't just Gianni that needed that closure. Daniel also needed it. And we needed it because that bullshit he said in part 2 wasn't true. Smearing Allie like that. Knew that didn't add up. Oh, that'd be cool. I think we'll see some flashbacks of Kreese and Silver being trained by Master Kim Sung-young in South Korea. Also interested in how Silver's personality became what it was in part 3. I would really like some more of their backstory. And I think casting those 2 actors was great for what they did, because they can keep building off of that. I've heard rumors, I don't know if it's true, that there could be a Kreese and Silver spinoff show that's set in the past with those 2. Would you all be down for that? How do you feel? Do you think that's going a little too far, milking a little too much, or would you all be interested in checking that out? I'd watch it no matter what. I don't think it's necessary or needed, but I'd watch it. Thomas Ian Griffith was a black belt in Taekwondo and Kempo karate. Okay, that makes so much sense, because he was so smooth with those moves, man. And you can tell when somebody really doesn't have much of an athletic background, and then the choreographers and the stunt coordinators do their best to teach people karate, because that's a lot of the kids in this show. I think the people that look the best doing it this season has been Jacob Bertrand, who plays Hawk, and Tanner Buchanan playing Robby. I think they look the best doing all the moves, because there's some times where Miguel and Sam, while they've tried really hard, still kind of look like they don't really know martial arts, because they don't. Gianni does a really great job. He's always been an athlete. He's always looked way better than Daniel at William Zabka versus Ralph Macchio. He's always been much more of a natural looking fighter. So like it's really easy to pinpoint when somebody was actually trained and has experience going into it, and I like that, because that's why I was like, man, he's just so good at this. Why? He's so good. He's got to know something, right? If Johnny and Carmen get married, wouldn't that make Miguel and Robby stepbrothers? It would. That'd be awkward. That'd be a little awkward, but it would. I like that, man. Having Terry as a contingency plan is a good idea. To quote Malcolm Merlin, if there's one thing he's learned, it's redundancy. Hell yeah. Miguel and Robby are probably going to fight in the tournament. Who do you think will win? Honestly, at the beginning of this, as I went into this, I was like, I really think Cobra Kai is going to win. But this whole talk of contingencies and Terry Silver, the drum technique, and this coming together of the dojos, I don't know. I still think if Terry teaches these kids anything, they're going to be too brutal to beat. But I don't know. I think in my heart, I want to say Miguel, but I think it's going to be Robby. I learned that yesterday, IDZ, that Griffith is actually younger than Macchio, and that blew my mind, because Ralph Macchio does not look his age at all. And Thomas Ian Griffith right now is he's white as snow. So I assumed he was years older than Ralph Macchio. When I found out yesterday that's not the case, it blew me away too. Bert is going to be the dark horse in season 4. He deserves a badass moment. As much as I agree, I think he'll still be kind of the butt of the joke. I don't know. I want him to see how that goes, but yeah. Does Carmen know that Robby is the one that almost killed her son? How do you think he's going to react? I'm pretty sure she definitely knows. But, I mean, it's all over the news. She has to know that it was Robby. But she came around from not blaming Gianni, so maybe she can come around to not blaming Robby. Yeah, I don't know. That throws a little bit of a wrench into that. Didn't think about that, but that's that's not great. Yeah, Bobby is good. What's funny about Bobby, though, he was actually the out of everybody in the OG Cobra Kai crew, he was the only one that really seemed to have a heart. Tommy, put him in a body bag guy. He was a little unhinged, and then Dutch, there's no surprise he ended up in prison. That guy was batshit insane. He was a dangerous fool. Even though Gianni was better than him, Dutch was screw loose. This one, I just don't know how that happened. Maybe flashbacks of Kreese and Silver training with Sato. I would need a huge explanation as to how they came into contact. But while that would be cool, Sato at the end of Karate Kid 2 was redeemed.
He no longer wanted to kill Miyagi. He accepted Daniel. He even shamed Chosen. Was the reason that Chosen felt shame was because he was like he was so ashamed of what Chosen had done at that point, and then he was the reason that Chosen came back and all that. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Now, pre all of that, Sato would be a deadly member of them to train with, but I don't see how you get them over into Okinawa and have that tie in. I'd rather a Miyagi prequel show. While I think that would be interesting, honestly, there wouldn't be any action, not really, unless it was like during the war, during World War II, then there would be a lot of commentary that you could have there. Robby is going to get in a fight with Kreese, secretly set up. And it's going to be too much for him to handle, and Gianni finds out and comes in and helps him out of that. It could be a way of reconnecting. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Kreese starts pushing Tory too far one direction. And he's like, no, calm down. When an 80s buddy flick starring anyone, let alone Kreese and Silver, holy crap. All right, guys. We are just over 2 hours. I'm going to call it here. This will be posted up live. If you have any questions you want to ask or anything that comes to mind, leave it in the comments. As soon as I can try, I'll get to it and answer your questions there. Again, thanks everybody that dropped a super chat, guys. That was so amazing. Thank you all so much for your support. It definitely helps the channel because everything that comes in here goes back into me making this better for you guys and just to help with the production in general. So I really appreciate that so much, everybody. So we've had a fun stream. My throat is raw. So yeah, we're going to sign off. Thanks everybody so much for tuning in and hanging out. I love doing these. So anytime we get a chance for another one, whether it be Cobra Kai, Mandalorian, Star Wars in general, or the Arrowverse, DC, Marvel, what have you, we'll do that. WandaVision kicks off this coming Friday with 2 episodes, so I'm going to be dropping reactions to those that day. So keep an eye out for my first reactions to WandaVision this weekend. So this coming weekend, the next one, Friday, the 15th. I'm excited for it. I'm trying to take off work that day so I don't have to rush them too much. So we'll see how that all goes. I'm really hyped up for that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time. And it seems like at the end of this season, Cobra Kai needs to die. Take care, everybody.